Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me on this day before Thanksgiving because I'm going to have a message of some kind of gratitude for you here today. But I am actually here today to make a really big announcement, and I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this day, Thanksgiving Eve. Thanksgiving's a big day, I know, in my family. I'm sure it's big for a lot of you guys too. And really this year, just as much as any other, but differently perhaps. My family has a lot to be feeling gratitude about, and so I'm just really excited to share some of what that gratitude is about with all of you, and to share a big announcement, to share my thanks, and to make one tiny request of you. So I'm going to take you guys back in time a little bit. I'm going to take you back 22 years to 1997. And at that time, I was still in the military. My husband was in the military as well. And we were about to be stationed apart from one another for a full year. And that is when I decided that I wanted to dive back into one of my passions, which was writing. I loved playwriting and poetry particularly. And I really got into playwriting. I did some short stories as well, and I sent those out. Like all of you guys who are aspiring writers, I was reaching out to all the traditional publishers. I was getting, a dozen rejections a week. Believe me, it was crazy. And I still brought my writing programs to schools, my reading programs to schools. And so in 1997, I thought, I'm going to get this email, R.M. LaBerge writes. And when I got that email, I was like, I'm official. I'm really a writer. And hi, Carissa. I'm so glad you joined us. Oh my gosh, Carissa is a really good family friend. She lived with us for a while. I love you so much. I hope you're having a great holiday week. Anyway, so here we are. I'm working my writing, and I'm like, I'm official because I have the email now. And I really just started working on the writing. And because I was in a lot of playwriting at the time, I actually participated a couple years later in a playwrights festival, and I wrote the play, and I did a lot of stage stuff at the time too. I did a lot of acting, and that year, because I had written a couple of plays to be included in the playwrights festival, I didn't have time to act. And a good friend of mine, John Sheldon, he says to me, he goes, "Oh, do you really want to write the plays, or do you want to be in them?" Because he thought he knew the answer. The answer was going to be, well, of course I don't have time to write these plays. I want to be in them. But instead, I didn't even think about it. I said, I want to write them. And all of a sudden, I had this epiphany moment that, oh my gosh, I want to write. I don't want to act. I want to spend my life writing. And that question from my friends changed the next 20 years of my life, because writing became my passion. It was something I did alongside every other job that I did. Everything I did all along was all about writing. And it led all the way up to my first published children's book, The Tale Travelers, Henry's History, which came out in, I believe it was 2006. So I spent like 9 years getting to this point. And while I was there, in this stage of my career, I actually really started to develop what I first called a brand. This tale traveling came to be what I was all about. I used to tell people, come tale travel with me. Come tale travel with me. And I would bring programs, and I would say, here's some great ways that you can write, and here's some great ways that you can read. And that was what I did. My bags still say, come tale travel with me, because I held on to that for a very long time. And while I was trying to find distribution for this book and a couple of others that came out afterward, at that point it was Cooper Ridge, The Wonder Kid, it was Make Room for Jake McNair. I went to a publishing conference in New York. And at this conference, I had just like lots of great leads and everything. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be that big star. I'm going to be that next J.K. Rowling and all of these great things, right? But that's not how it happened. I was leaving that event, the Book Expo America event, and I ended up stuck in the airport. If any of y'all have ever flown out of LaGuardia, you know they are always backed up. So here I am, I'm 10 years into my writing career. I'm stuck in LaGuardia, and I am in the terminal for St. Louis, even though I was flying to Milwaukee. And meanwhile, we're all just hanging out. We're having a good time. There's this girl next to me. She's missing her birthday. She was supposed to go home, and going home, she was actually going to go to prom with her boyfriend. She was really excited about it. People were mean to her though, and it was just, she was stuck. She was unhappy. I went and I got her like a cake donut thing at what do they call the donut place, at Dunkin' Donuts, and I brought it and I had them decorate it with whipped cream all the way up to the top. And I said, hey, you guys, I gathered all these strangers from all over the place to sing happy birthday. And I was just busted being positive and optimistic because I had left this conference feeling in a really good place. And this person who I thought he was asleep, who's sitting across from me, all of a sudden, he sits up and he's like, hey, you were at the conference? Because we'd been talking about, what were you in New York for? And I said, yeah. He's like, do you have a card? And I give him my card. Well, I didn't think anything of it. He starts telling me about this project he's doing with this NCAA basketball announcer. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Good for you. I'm just supporting him. Well, I get home and I end up finding out that this guy wasn't just a guy. He owned a publishing company, was the president of the publishing company. And when I reached out to him, he tells me, hey, well, do you want the project or not? And that is how the first conversations began that brought me into the co-writing world. And over the course of the next 11 months, I ended up working really hard to land this book with somebody that I today call a good friend, and that's Dick Vitale. And we created Getting a W in the Game of Life. And all of a sudden, the world was opened up to me on co-writing and what is co-writing all about and how do you help other people tell their stories. And this became what the next decade of my career looked like, helping other people tell their stories. I had this gift for writing, but I love Tale Travelers. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of it, although I look at it now and I'm like, I would completely re-edit it. Trust me, I'm proud of it. But it wasn't unique, really. It wasn't something that couldn't be found on the shelves by Mary Pope Osborne or any other number of great adventure writers. And so this was something new to me. This was something to be able to tell somebody else's story was this whole world to me. And I literally just spent the next 10 years of my life helping people to tell their stories. And it was the most fulfilling decade of a career ever, because everybody has a story inside of them, but not everybody necessarily has the ability to tell the story or knows how to get that story out in the world once it is told. And so I learned everything there was to know about writing and publishing and marketing of books. And I really feel like I became a master of all trades related to writing and publishing. And it was so satisfying. And it has been amazing, the things that I've been able to be a part of as people came along to come tale travel with me. And since then, really just things kind of exploded. And that was when 2016 came around. And in 2016, I wrote 1 million words. So just to put that into perspective for you, this was a year that I owned a publishing company, and 1 million words is like writing the entire Harry Potter series in a year. And so I remember getting to this point where I was so tired that I physically could not keep my eyes open. And my carpal tunnel in both wrists was so severe that as I typed, I was crying. I was crying in pain. So here I was sitting alone in my office. This was a storefront that I had at the time in my company, crying with my eyes closed and still typing out the books. And that year almost killed me. And I thought, I'm done. I am out of this business. I can't do it anymore. But I realized we had done something really unique. Myself, people that I had brought into the company who I still love today, Angela Nicoloy, Mike Nicoloy, Amy Oakes, Ryan Scargill, these are just people that I just loved. We were a true family, working together. And I realized, hey, these people might be able to take this to the next step or take this company somewhere else. And so Angela and Mike actually, instead of me shutting the doors on this whole idea of helping other people tell their stories, I was able to sell this company to Angela and Mike, who've done great things with it. It's Nico 11 Publishing and Design. And that was really amazing. And I thought, oh my gosh, once again, I've had this opportunity, just like when I help people with their stories, to build something that I can give away and let somebody else build upon and make their own and grow into something new and different. And that was satisfying. That was satisfying in another different way. And so here I was like in 2017, I'm ready to kind of rebirth this business yet again. And I've spent the next few years really just building and releasing and building and releasing. And I'm so proud of the books and that I've done, again, as you guys have all been tail traveling with me all these years. And I just want to share a couple of the most memorable experiences I had. So first I want to go back to this book, because this was one of my most memorable, not just because it broke me into co-writing, but I can remember sitting in my living room editing with my younger sister, Stacy, who is to this day the favorite editor I have for my own personal work. And we were laughing so hard that we were bawling, because believe me, my writing was atrocious. And some of the things that we were coming up with were just hilarious. And we spent days editing together in this living room and just laughing and crying and practically peeing ourselves. And that was one of my most memorable experiences as a writer. Another one of my most memorable experiences was very first number one. This was actually one that I didn't write, but I helped to market, I helped to edit, and this was by my good friends Amy Oakes and Jennifer Buchholz, and this went to number one. And all of a sudden I realized, holy cow, we can send books to number one. Since then, there's been 70 authors I've sent to number one, and that was exciting. Then there was this book here, which was really exciting because I got to write this with my other sister, Kim, and got to hear her story and to be able to help tell the story of one of my own siblings. I mean, that was phenomenal to me. So that was really memorable. And then probably my most memorable was this here. A few words of comfort for the grieving. And not just because I got to work with a great group of women, but because one of these women was my mom. So I've had a lot of really great memories. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Sue. Hi, Marlene. Thank you guys for joining. Really wonderful memories. There has been, between this book and this book, which I'm going to tell you about in just a few minutes, there have been 60 books with my name. There have been 80 projects that I've had the honor of managing, and more clients than I could even begin to name. So I don't have time to name them all. But the reason I'm focusing on some of these most memorable things is because of the announcement I have. This book here, which releases on Cyber Monday, is going to be my last. I am retiring from the world of co-writing, and it has been an incredible journey, and I'm so proud and honored to have been a part of this. And this is a decision that my family and I made in September. And even though I'm a little bit emotional now, it's a decision that I'm really excited about. And I'm really looking forward to this next chapter, because here's the thing. When I look back on the last 22 years of this career in writing, I realize I made it. I realize I was given every dream I ever had by God, and so many more. I didn't just get to write stories and get the traditional publisher and speak in front of people. And yeah, that's been exciting. But I got things I didn't even know I wanted. I got to tell other people their stories. Hi, Rhonda. I got to help people know what the value of their stories were and help them make an impact on the world with those stories. I got to help other people feel pride when they were able to become #1 best-selling authors. I got to help my family tell their stories. And there is no dream I could have chased that would have even measured up to the successes that I was given by God as a gift. And I'm just so grateful for all of them. And so that's why I've waited for this day, right before this release, to share this announcement of my retirement from the world of writing and publishing. And I'm still going to probably write for myself and as a hobby and throw some stuff out there, but everything's going to change. My website is going to be referring you to free resources because it's always been about the story to me. So it's going to be referring you guys to just how you guys can continue to tell your stories. It's going to refer you to other great people that I've met and worked with over the years that can help you along those paths. And it's going to be a resource, hopefully, for you. It's not going to be about shining the spotlight on me. It's going to be about helping you to find that spotlight inside of yourselves and getting your stories out there to make positive impacts, because I truly believe that our culture is a storytelling culture. And I want to continue to be a part of that, even though I'm not putting my name on your books anymore. So that's what the announcement is. And then the ask. So the news and the announcement and my ask is to help me go out on top. I mean, I've had so many incredible achievements, but this book is one in awe. It's available by Steve Palick. It comes out on Cyber Monday, and it is one I am immensely proud of. I'm immensely proud of the stories, of the writing, of the layout, of the adventure that I had in creating this with Steve Palick, and it comes out on Cyber Monday. So my ask is that you help this go out on top by picking up this book on Cyber Monday. And last of all, some of you guys have taken classes with me over the years, and you know that I give away apples a lot of times at the end of my classes. And the reason for this apple is because there's this old kind of urban myth that the way that you capture a monkey is to put an apple inside a box with a hole in it. And the hole is big enough for the monkey to fit his hand into, but once he grabs that apple, it's not big enough for him to pull that apple out. And so instead of that monkey enjoying his freedom, enjoying his peace, enjoying all of these things, he holds on to that apple so tight that it actually will eventually rot while he's stuck there that whole time. And so what I've been trying to teach you guys for the last 20 some years is to let go of the apple, because we're better than monkeys. Our stories should not remain trapped inside of us. And so I ask you, don't let your stories remain trapped inside of you. Keep telling them. Use me as a resource to tell them, let go of the apple. And so for me, after 22 years, I am proud to let go of the apple and just say, thank you. Thank you for tail traveling with me. And I look forward to the next chapter. I love you all.